Hey guys, it's me, LD, and today I'm actually coming to you with a pro Dota 1 commentary. I've been casting primarily Dota 2, but due to some recent changes by Valve, I can no longer get access to pro replays at the current time. So rather than just stop casting, I decided I would try my hand at casting some Dota 1. I'm completely new to this, and I'm not sure if my setup is perfect, so if there's any issues, technical or otherwise, that you notice, please let me know, but hopefully this game goes well. Today's match is between Neolution and MiTH-TRUST. It was pretty highly rated by Gosu Gamers, so I'm looking forward to an exciting match. For anyone who's not familiar with these teams, they are both teams from the Philippines, so it will be a game of Pinoy Dota, which basically means action-packed, lots of mistakes, but lots of aggression, and generally very exciting to watch. So with that being said, I'm going to unpause the replay and let's get into the picks. So Neolution will be... Actually, excuse me, I haven't assigned the first pick yet. So Neolution will be banning first, so they'll get the first pick. I haven't watched too much Dota 1 recently, and this is actually on 6.73c, which means that a lot of the new changes are going to be in effect. So I'm interested to see if any of the heroes that got big buffs will show up. You know, perhaps Axe, Invoker, and Lycan, the first bans. Pretty standard bans. I'll talk a little bit about them. Invoker, pretty much banned just for his crowd control. He's really hard to kill. His Tornado EMP combo is really good at preventing pushes. The one issue with Invoker is that he needs a lot of levels, and he's not especially strong in the early game. So teams that run strong pushing lineups can sometimes push down his base before he can really get too much accomplished. But he's one of the most annoying heroes to deal with, so not surprised at all to see him banned. In Dota 2, he's been banned almost constantly, and when he doesn't get banned, he usually wins, so... you know, that game does have a more limited hero pool, but obviously he's still a powerful hero. So it looks to me like both teams are just banning heroes they don't want to deal with. I'm not really seeing a consistent strategy here. Lycan, obviously just a very strong pusher, very annoying to deal with. Same with Broodmother. Yeah, none of these, I mean... I'm trying to see if there's a pattern in these bans. You don't always see that, and a lot of times teams will just ban heroes they don't want to deal with. We do see a Prophet is still in the pool, and he's super popular in Dota 2 right now. I don't know how popular he is in Dota 1, especially in the Philippines scene. But actually Earthshaker going to be the first pick. So why would Neolution pick Earthshaker first? Well, you know, the primary reason to pick him is A, team fight, and B, anti-push. He's a very good team fighting hero. Fissure can really zone enemies out of position so that they're not able to get where they want to go. It's also a very good defensive spell if you're in a tri-lane or even a dual lane to help heroes stay alive. He's a pretty decent ganker if he gets a perfect Fissure, but he's definitely not as reliable as someone like a Vengeful Spirit or a Venomancer or other support heroes, just because you do have to have perfect Fissure placement. So for him to be picked up here suggests that they're either worried about push or they just want to make sure they have the team fight advantage. The reply from MiTH-TRUST here is going to be a Windrunner and a Panda. An extremely popular hero in the Chinese Dota scene. I think he's been getting a little more popular just in general nowadays. He's really, once he hits level 6, you're basically fighting 3 heroes for the duration of his ult. He does have a pretty low mana pool, so, you know, something that burns mana is a good way to deal with that. Unfortunately, Invoker and Anti-Mage are both banned out. So that, you know, it's kind of strange that Neolution, well, unfortunate rather, that Neolution would ban those heroes and then a Panda gets picked. I'm just going to lower my music volume a little bit. It's kind of loud. Sorry about that. So, let's see. I'm interested to see if Neolution continues with these big team fight heroes. If they're going for a lot of CC, a lot of mid-game, or, you know, if they just wanted to pick up the Earthshaker in particular. In terms of heroes who are still on the board, Prophet is available. And Queen of Pain, always, how could I forget, always a popular pick in the Southeast Asian Dota scene. Just, you know, she's very hard to kill, she has a lot of burst damage, and she's very mobile. And Southeast Asian teams, if you're a very aggressive player or an aggressive team, you're definitely going to favor heroes with mobility and heroes with burst damage. So, from that respect, the Queen of Pain makes a lot of sense. And I really like this Ancient Apparition pick here by Neolution, which is going to be their third pick, because it combos extremely well with Earthshaker. If Ancient Apparition puts the Cold Feet on an enemy hero, and then Earthshaker uses Fissure, that's a guaranteed proc for the Cold Feet, meaning that you're going to have I don't know the exact math off the top of my head, but it's going to be like a 3.5 to 4 second chain stun between those two heroes. And if you add any other sort of slow or stun, it's pretty much a guaranteed kill early game. So we may see them in a tri-lane, we may see them dual roaming. It's hard to tell until they make their last two hero picks. Crystal Maiden is going to be the reply. So that does give a nice support hero over to MiTH-TRUST. And the Crystal Maiden is often paired with the Panda, and I think it's a good combination with the Panda. Not only because Crystal Maiden just has good stuns and is disables early game and is generally good at ganking, but more importantly, if she chooses to go for that mana aura, it really helps out Panda, who's got, I believe it's the lowest int gain in the game. It's definitely one of the lowest, if not the lowest. So he has a lot of mana issues early on. That's why, one of the reasons why you often see Chinese Pandas go for a quick Ancient Django of Endurance, or a Drum of Endurance, if you're a Dota 2 player. So the bans are coming out now. Both teams don't have a carry, so Morphling and Chaos Knight going to be the bans there, as well as Syllabear. I'm actually pretty surprised that Syllabear made it until the second ban stage. He's almost guaranteed first pick material most of the time, especially in Chinese Dota. Not quite as popular in the ganking and very aggressive metagame in the Southeast Asian scene, I suppose. Although, to be honest, Syllabear is still pretty good in that environment. But, you know, in an ideal world, he wants to get a good amount of farm up. Before, you know, really finish that Radiance, at least get some phase boots on the bear, maybe an Orb of Venom, you know, and then look to be aggressive. So from that respect, he's pretty gankable, so I'm not entirely surprised to see him banned. Dragon Knight going to be banned as well, and that's an interesting ban. He's really strong right now in the new patch. For anyone who doesn't know, in 6.73, his Dragon Tail is now range stun when he's in the dragon form, which means he was already good at chasing, and now he's incredible at it. So I'm not surprised to see him banned. He pairs. I'm a little surprised that the Scourge banned him, though, to be honest, because he pairs really well with all of their heroes. I guess they thought Neolution might go for him coming right out of the picks. So both teams going to be looking for a carry here. I'm interested to see who they go for. I'm trying to think who's available in the pool that might be a great choice here. Next time I cast, I'm definitely going to have the list of heroes up on my other monitor so that I can peruse them. Slardar is going to be the pick. That minus armor is a great way to deal with the Panda, as his agility gain is okay, but it's certainly not amazing. So I like that choice, and I think he pairs really nicely with the Earthshaker and the Ancient Apparition if they want to run a tri-lane. They have the heroes to do it, and it's quite a... Even though it's a double melee tri-lane, the amount of chain stun they have is just terrifying. If you ever get cold feeded and fissured by Ancient Apparition and Earthshaker, you're dead if you're any of these Scourge heroes. Assuming that the chain stunning is done properly. So even though it would be a double melee tri-lane, I think it would work pretty well. We could also see those two roaming. Although, you know, normally the issue with roaming is if you don't have successful ganks, you get really underleveled, and you might see a Shaker who's level, you know, 2 at 6 or 7 minutes into the game, and then you'll be in for some trouble. So most likely they'll be doing a little tri-laning. MiTH-TRUST working on their 4th pick here, and both teams taking a good amount of the extra time, so really wanted to make sure they get the right picks. Weaver is still in the pool. He hasn't been seeing too much play, and I definitely wouldn't expect to see MiTH-TRUST pick him up, as Slardar does, and the general chain stun on the Sentinel. I keep on wanting to say Radiant. The general chain stun on the Radiant is pretty hard to deal with for a squishy hero like the Weaver. Priestess of the Moon is in the pool. I don't know if either of these teams like to pick her. I know that Mineski does, and I know she's generally fairly popular in the Southeast Asian Dota scene. I think she would fit well on both teams because both of them are still looking for another solo. I guess Ancient Apparition could be soloing, but I think he's going to be forced into the support role just because they already have 2 melee heroes. And it's going to be an Enigma, so another... Oh, and while we're on the subject of Enigma... I'm also realizing that Darkseer has not been banned or picked yet, so I wonder if either team's going to go towards him. Probably not the Scourge, because most likely we'll be seeing the Enigma in the jungle. The Windrunner in one of the solo lanes, the Panda and the CM possibly dual laning mid, or at least laning together, and then one more solo hero for their team. You can run the Enigma in a solo position in either the long lane or the short lane, but I don't think that's a super popular style. And the issue with that is he is pretty easily ganked, especially because he's usually denying creeps, which means that the lane will be pushing against him. So Weaver's going to be the last pick by Neolution, another good choice there. And this team, if you just sort of look at Neolution's overall hero composition, what they have going for them is they have really good range between the Fissure, the Queen of Pain's ability to blink, the AA having global range with that, I forget the name of it, with his ultimate. Slardar just being a great chaser. If he ever gets a blink dagger, then he can pretty much be moving all the way across the map in almost no time at all. And of course Weaver is a fantastic chaser with Sakuchi. So the final pick is going to be Obsidian Destroyer. Now, overall, if I look at these two teams, they both have a pretty decent mix of early game and late game. So let's introduce the players now, and then we'll talk about who will have the advantage if this game goes late. So MiTH-TRUST, we have Tralababa playing the Panda. Triffy's going to be handing that Crystal Maiden. Actually, let me get out of zoom mode. That's a little confusing for me. Tritnik going to be handling that Enigma. All these guys are just trolling me with their names. Trelake Liz going to be, or LZ going to be on that Obsidian Destroyer. And Jesus, Trill 3 now on the Windrunner. Going to be soloing the long lane. I'm getting trolled so hard. Neolution, 808 on the AA. GG on the Slardar. And who do we have here? Tifa on the Queen of Pain. Mickey on the Earthshaker. And Sue on the Weaver. So it looks like Neolution is going to be doing a 2-1-2. They'll have the Earthshaker supporting and defending the Weaver top, the Queen of Pain soloing mid, and then the Ancient Apparition and Slardar working together on bottom. Slardar doing a little dance here, starting his crush and then canceling it. In terms of MiTH-TRUST, we're going to have a Panda soloing top. Panda solo top with an Enigma jungling. He's going to need some help from that Enigma to be effective. Harbinger is going to be on the middle lane, also known as Obsidian or Outworld Destroyer in Dota 2. Crystal Maiden picks up a DD rune. Just taking a look at the wards here. Looks like both teams going to be placing Observer Ward to see that top rune. This is a little bit interesting. This ward is, you don't normally see this, or it's not super common to see early game, but just judging from the fact that the Scourge have two wards mid, they're very concerned about protecting this Obsidian Destroyer. So in terms of the matchup for this lane, definitely would give the edge to the Harbinger. The Queen of Pain's probably going to be able to control the runes, unless the Harbinger gets some help from his team. But in terms of actual laning presence, I mean, just look at the base damage on these heroes. Well, this zoom mode is very trippy. The Harbinger already has some higher base damage, and it's only going to increase as he continues to use Astral Imprisonment on the Queen of Pain. So the top lane, Panda's going to have a bit of a tough time. We do see Crystal Maiden doing a little stacking pulling, so she is going to rotate over to that lane, which is more what I expected. We're now going to see... so with the Crystal Maiden here, I think the Weaver will have a little bit of a harder time, and Panda should be a little better off. And of course you have Enigma, who's always a danger, always a threat to come gank from the jungle, which is why you see this very nice defensive ward being placed for this top lane. As long as Weaver pays attention to the minimap, he should be relatively safe. Unless Enigma opts to buy a Smoke of Deceit, which is not normally something you see him doing early game. So this bottom lane, Windrunner doing a pretty good job of harassing the Slardar. And we'll have to see, you know, if Ancient Apparition is able to apply more pressure to her. I think they're going to have a hard time actually killing the Windrunner. Even though the Slither Crush and the Cold Feet is a good, potent combo if you can get it off. It's pretty easy for Windrunner to stay out of range of Ancient Apparition. So the Harbinger going to be doing what he does best, which is stealing all your intelligence and getting really big. And we can already see he's got almost 20 damage on this Queen of Pain, and it's only going to get worse. Queen of Pain is opting for what looks to be a Shadow Strike first build, at least getting 1 point in it. Normally, I guess the most standard build for Queen of Pain is to... not missing any action top. Is to basically max your Scream of Pain. What's that called? Your third skill. There's an AoE nuke, and to then max the blink. Maybe get 1 point in the Shadow Strike. So it's interesting to see her going for Shadow Strike. It does help you lane control a little better against a hero like an Obsidian Destroyer. And you can usually drive him back while he's under the influence of that. Sentry Ward is going to be placed here by MiTH-TRUST. They want to set something up on the Weaver. Does this... Yeah, I think this counter ward is... The Sentry Ward just is slightly out of range, unfortunately for Myth, so they're not going to be able to stop the Weaver from avoiding these ganks, at least for now. So, looks like Panda's having a pretty easy time in the top lane so far. Getting a decent amount of farm, not too much harassment, and now with Crystal Maiden in the lane, being aggressive, he's going to have basically free farm. So, essentially right now, it looks like a Slardar, his free farm is being traded for Panda's farm. Some really nice hero blocking coming out here. Windrunner going to go down, so the Cold Feet procs, the Fissure combo, that's the first blood for Neolution. I really like that combination, and great job by Earthshaker being active on the map. You see the power of that Fissure and the Cold Feet, there's just nothing that she can do. And then you throw in the Slither and Crush as well, and even a Windrunner who's doing her best to escape just has no chance. In this middle lane, of course, as we expected, Harbinger having a better time. He's already 17-9. Queen of Pain doing decently at 11-2, 12-2 now, but definitely not, the ideal farm. It's really not a good matchup for her. She needs to get some runes, which looks like Earthshaker will be doing, babysitting this rune for Queen of Pain. She needs to get some runes, and once she hits level 7 or so, expect her to get a lot more aggressive in terms of ganking. So if we compare, I just want to take a look at how the top lane's farming. Yeah, Panda at 20 creeps, and this Weaver is really not having that great a farm. 10 creeps 5 minutes into the game is definitely not what you want. A little bit of aggression here in Weaver, but he'll be fine under the tower.
The town is under siege.
So with this double damage rune, expect Queen of Pain to be able to control this lane a lot more effectively. Earthshaker going to be roaming in mid. It's pretty hard to actually kill off the Obsidian because of that imprisonment, as well as the fact that he still has this defensive ward placed to protect him. So Enigma going for a very standard Soul Rain here. And I'm interested to see what he goes for next. I'm just going to take a quick look at the lineups here. There's actually nothing to counter a BKB. If he's able to pop his ultimate, and Weaver in a lot of trouble here. One more auto attack. Not going to be enough. Nice magic wand pop. I think he's going to get away. Panda with the boot's going to be able to chase him down. So, not Weaver's lucky day. And the three-man stun combination that we talked about is here again. Windrunner just has no chance. Normally one of the best long lane solos. Because of that Windrun ability, it's very hard to kill a Windrunner off. And this is one of the few combinations that can actually deal with her effectively.
A player's forces are under attack.
Obsidian, let's see here. Yeah, only at 23 and 11 now. His farm's really slowed down because Queen of Pain had that double damage rune. He just had to be really careful, as well as the Earthshaker coming mid. So let's see how the Earthshaker's doing. He's actually got a lot of farm already. He's got a completed Soul Rain. So it looks like we might be seeing him go for a Blink Dagger pretty early on. I wonder if he'll go for Mono Boots with this Soul Rain. Mono Boots are the standard choice on Earthshaker, but if you're farming this well, then it might be worth skipping. Just getting some regular boots and then going straight for a Blink. Interesting to see that the Windrunner has opted not to go for boots first. I'm guessing she just hasn't had the 500 gold all at once to buy them, but in my opinion this is still a mistake. Because you really need that mobility to be able to deal with Slardar and the Chainstone combo coming out from AA and Earthshaker. So it's around the 7-minute mark. The wards have mostly died for both teams, and this is normally a great time for to set up some ganks because you know that the wards have just died, and if you gank right away, there won't be a chance to replace them. Fissure comes out on the Harbinger, but he's going to be okay. I'm actually surprised he's not farming better than this. He was averaging almost 5 creeps per minute before, and he's definitely slowed down. While the Windrunner has been dying, she is still level 5, so she's getting decent experience. You know, and at some point in the mid game, hopefully she'll be able to get her farm up. More sentry wards going down. I think the Weaver is going to be in trouble here. Does he have his time lapse? He does. But he still might go down. Actually, a nice fissure. They might turn this around. Indeed they will. Crystal Beta goes down. So really great. And I actually didn't even notice the Shaker coming in there, which was my mistake. But great action, or great movement coming out of him. You see how annoying this Panda is to deal with. Nice salve by the Weaver. He might actually get away. I think he's going to. I have to say, so far, the Shaker is definitely the MVP. He's been very effective in his roams. Setting up 2 kills on the Windrunner, and as well as going to be a 4th kill here, as well as 1 kill on the Crystal Maiden, and saving the Weaver. This is the hallmark of a good Earthshaker player, so if he's able to be effective roaming early game. If he hits his fissures poorly, if he gets spotted by creeps or a tower or a ward, and he's not able to get anything accomplished, we'll see him be really underleveled. But level 4 at this point in the game is pretty darn good. And the best part about this is he's really not taking experience away from his lane. Let's see if is Harbinger going to fight this. He's got the wand. He's probably waiting to pop his wand, but he's getting really low here. Okay, he does go ahead and pop it. Oh, and a nice ultimate going to take that Queen of Pain down. So, for anyone who's wondering, I don't believe this Obsidian Destroyer or the Harbinger has actually skilled any points into his orb yet. This is the standard build for Harbinger. You really just want to sit in your lane and farm, max your Astral Imprisonment, and max your passive, so that you can permanently be stealing their mana. And then you go for your orb after your ultimate. So it looks like he did pick up his ultimate. Probably expect to see him start putting some points in the orb at level 10. So he's not even hitting all that hard right now, but his ultimate did a lot of bonus damage there because he's been stealing from the Queen of Pain so much. And she just can't do anything versus him. She blinks in, she gets Astral Imprisoned, and that's pretty much it. Slardar is going to opt for the Vanguard here, which is normally a defensive item. But I actually think on Slardar it's pretty good offensively. The reason for that is he can dive towers with pretty much impunity, really without having to worry about getting chain nuked down. And we see him doing it here. They might actually, Shackle Shot not going to lash. Will we see Ancient Apparition go for a black hole? I'm not sure this is going to work. Are there any TP scrolls? Nobody's TPing in yet. It looks like both teams are going to back off. I'm actually just going to check now if anyone's has one yet. Earthshaker with a TP scroll. Queen of Pain not carrying one yet. I'm a little surprised to see that. She's such a good counter ganker because if you ever overextend against a Queen of Pain, she can chase you down very easily with the blink, the Scream of Pain, and just, you know, do so much damage. So this Weaver is having a really good time top, and frankly better than he should have been. So I have to say a bit of a mistake by the Scourge here, and Weaver's actually going to go aggressive. He knows that the Panda ultimate is still down. It's got a very long cooldown early. You know, the only way to reduce that being to pick up the Aghanim Scepter. So, at this point, Weaver's just going to be a pain in the butt to kill. They really need more heroes there to do it. You know, that's something that you would expect to see. Normally, once Enigma hits 6, if he hasn't already come to set up a gank, we'll certainly do so at that point. And I must say, this is the least eventful Pinoy Dota game I have watched yet, at least in terms of hero kills. So I'm actually going to bring up the scoreboard here and do a quick item check. This has been about 10 minutes into the game. Earthshaker's still seeing that Soul Ring, still working on his boots. Looks like a gank going to be set up here on the Weaver top. Let's see if they're actually going to get there. Looks like he should be able to escape. Started with the Vanguard and the Tread, so he's definitely farming the best on his team. 64 creeps in 11 minutes. Looks like about 5-6 a minute, probably closer to 5, so pretty good farm by him. Queen of Pain having really, frankly, what's an awful farm. Only 35 creeps per minute. Looks like a dive here is going to be going on the Harbinger. Is he going to TP out? No, it's a defensive TP scroll coming in. He should be okay. Will we see the Black Hole just for the Queen of Pain? Black Hole is dropped. Harbinger should have his ultimate again, if he needs it. He's not even going to need it, and he's going to drop it anyway just to secure the kill. Didn't want that Queen of Pain to blink away. Whenever you're dealing with a hero like Queen of Pain, who I guess I would affectionately call an escape artist, it's always a good idea to go a little bit overkill. And we saw it there, 2 ultimates being dropped just to make sure she can't blink away. Just to finish going over the farm and, you know, sort of doing an item check here. We do see Enigma getting very close to his Blink Dagger, and once he gets that, really expect the Scourge to be a lot more aggressive. Windrunner, awful farm. 21 creeps. She was in a really bad lane and died a couple times. That's to be expected, but if she can't get her farm up, she's going to have a hard time contributing in the mid game. Windrun is normally a great escape skill, but when you're dealing with heroes like a Shaker, an AA, a Weaver, all these heroes with really good range, and eventually a Slardar with a Blink Dagger, it's just so hard to actually escape. Running a little bit faster is not going to get you away from all those blinks reliably, so she's going to need to find the farm. I don't know where she'll do it though. Obsidian Destroyer finally, the final hero to check on here, is having a fantastic farm. Gonna be going for that mecha, and he should have a complete soon. Yeah, actually almost has a complete. So, sometimes you see a lot of action top. Weaver is getting a lot done here. He's doing work at this point. This guy is balling out of control. And there's just, looks like in the meantime, the Earthshaker is going to go down, so his fun times are finally over. But Weaver's going to escape, and that's definitely the more important kill. AA ultimate, not going to hit. This is something interesting to point out here, is that Ancient Apparition was in that bottom lane. It's a little unusual and really not the ideal lane for him, all other things being equal. But the reason for that is that his ultimate is so far to travel that if you're sitting all the way in the bottom lane, you try to throw it top, and we just saw it there. He threw his ult pretty much when the fight broke out, but by the time the ult arrived, the fight was over. So, just really not too much the AA could have done there, besides TPing top. But then, your wasted TP scroll on a hero is not that reliable, and he might not even get a kill. So he's just going to sit bottom, continue to stack pull, and farm a little bit. So interestingly, Windrunner has opted for the Arcane Boots. Arcane Boots are generally one of these items that, if your team needs them, it's always worth getting them if no one else is. It's not the most common boots. So Windrunner, you normally would see her going for phase boots just for a little extra damage, last hitting power, and mobility. And Queen of Pain with the runes, just going to be doing work right now. It's so annoying to deal with, and this Crystal Maid is dead, going to try to feed herself to the creeps. Actually drops the ult. Oh, Crystal Maiden trying to make a big play there, but unfortunately not able to fog the Queen of Pain. So it looks like Weaver is going to be going for Lincoln Sphere. And I'm really not a big fan of this item on Weaver until you actually... He is doing pretty well and he's surviving. It's a great item if you're just able to sit in lane all game. But at some point his team's going to need him to help. Black hole on one hero. It's not the black hole that Enigma's hoping for. I think we're about to see the Scourge get wiped here. Where's the Queen of Pain ultimate? I guess it's on cooldown. Probably not going to need it though. So much nuke damage coming out right now. Ancient Apparition going to be able to clean that up with a double kill.
A player's forces are under attack.
So Panda has completed the Blink Dagger. I'm a little surprised to see him rush it like this. But that is going to give them great initiation between the Panda and the Enigma. At this stage of the game, in terms of... I want to say that the Sentinel, excuse me, I keep on trying to say Radiant. I want to say that the Sentinel team definitely has the advantage right now. If we just take a look at the levels here, they've got 3 heroes over 10. The Scourge only have 2. Although one of them is a pretty fat Obsidian Destroyer. So now at this initiation combo, the power of the Panda plus the Black Hole, once those 2 are up, I really would like to see them get aggressive. Try and use Panda to initiate, and then Enigma follow up with a Black Hole. Panda can blink in, do a Thunderclap, and then pop the ultimate, the Primal Split, and then Enigma comes in and follows up, and hopefully grabs a couple heroes. 3 heroes smoked up. They're baiting this Queen of Pain extremely hard. But they're going to give it up just to go for a nice imprisonment. The counter initiation, so it's a double bait from both teams, actually. And I think we're going to see a bunch of Sentinel heroes die here. Earthshaker doing whatever he can, which is to say nothing, because he's dead. And we're going to see more aggression. The chase continues, but Panda's ult is about to end, so it's definitely time to back up. Shackle Shot not going to latch. I don't think we've seen a single good Shackle Shot this game. Queen of Pain comes in, but the mechanism healing everyone back up. Queen of Pain probably going to go down. Some really nice hero blocking. Queen of Pain is going to drop, so this Obsidian Destroyer doing work. Just dealing out so much damage with that orb. I actually don't know what level it is, but I'm guessing it's not even maxed yet. He's only level 13, so, and the orb was level 1 or 2 in that fight, I'm pretty sure. Weaver actually opted to stay bottom. I'm not sure if he TP'd there, and then his TP is on cooldown, or if he just decided not to come. He's definitely one of their more important teamfight heroes. And the reason that I say that is because normally when you think of Weaver, you think of someone who wants to farm all game and get pretty big. The reason that he's an important teamfight hero for this lineup is that he has the Swarm, which allows them to cancel the Blink Daggers on the Scourge for an extremely long time. A nice deny, or a nice tower last hit there. Windrunner not able to deny it. So as long as he latches the Swarm onto the Panda and the Enigma, they can't blink in for a good amount of time until they kill the bugs, or until the bugs die. Slardar is there as well for initiation. Windrunner just gonna absolutely melt. For anyone who's watching this, if you know a way to disable zoom mode from toggling on and off, let me know. I'll try and look it up after this game. But obviously it can be a little distracting. I'm just going to take a look here at how the supports are doing. Crystal Maiden still does not have boots, which is why I thought to ask. Yeah, both, God, I keep on wanting to say dire. This is horrible. Both Scourge supports really just struggling here in terms of farm. Normally you'd want to see a Windrunner with a 4-staff at this point in the game, or a Mechanism. If she's doing well, maybe both, or at least components of the second one. But she just has nothing. You compare that to the Sentinel supports. The Ancient Apparition, you know, not doing amazingly well. Actually, I guess both team supports are just having a rough game in general. The supports items are pretty equal, except for the Crystal Maiden not even having boots yet. The reason I don't like Lincoln Sphere on Weaver is that it doesn't really give you that much for the cost, except for the spell block. And there's a lot of spells on the Scourge team that can disable the spell block. There's a Shackle Shot, there's a Malefice, there's an Ice Imprisonment, and there's also Obsidian Destroyers, Astral Imprisonment. Another thing to note is that 4-staff also will remove Lincoln Sphere, so I just think there's enough spells that go through it that it's really not worth it. And you know, he doesn't need the regen that much. Instead of going for the Lincoln Sphere, you could have picked up maybe a Ring of Aquila, which is pretty good and a lot cheaper. Gives you some good stats and some good mana regen. And if you really want HP regen, you can just have a Ring of Health. You don't have to turn it into anything else. So I think the Lincoln's is kind of a waste, but he is farming pretty well. So, you know, he does have it completed 20 minutes. Pretty good time to get a Lincoln Sphere. And he is already level 13, so who am I to criticize someone who's farming this well? But I just think, you know, there are better ways to spend the money. He could, you know, he could have a Relic now if he had rushed it. Or, you know, just have a little bit more HP and have more money in the bank, be working towards the Relic. You maybe go for some Power Treads, Vitality Booster, Ring of Aquila, and then go into Radiance. Radiance is again is going to be very important in this game for the same reason the Swarm is. It's going to prevent those Blink Daggers. And as we move into the mid-game, expect to see the positioning on this Enigma become extremely important. A bunch of Scourge heroes here are going to be smoked up. And it looks like Weaver getting baited hardcore here, but the Swarm is going to come out, and that's going to prevent any aggression. You see there, even when Weaver's solo farming versus 4 enemy heroes that are smoked up, he just can't do anything. Whose hill war is this? Yeah, and actually, he knew he was safe because he had that some really great wards by Neolution. This is an excellent ward for the mid game because, especially if the mid towers are up for both teams. It's very common for teams to group up mid and either try to get a gank or get a push going. This ward allows you to see heroes running, you know, through the mid lane to either of the side lanes, as well as just grouping up. So that smoke was spotted out completely by Weaver, which is why he felt comfortable being aggressive, I suppose. He is very hard to take down with the Lincoln Sphere without a coordinated team fight. Slardar has the Blink Dagger now, so the initiation is slowly going back in their favor. The Shaker only 1,000 gold away from his blink, so he's going to have it a little bit late, but 28-minute, 30-minute blink dagger isn't too bad. If he actually just spends a couple minutes farming in the lane, he can have it. But it doesn't look like the Scourge are really giving them the opportunity. Queen of Pain going to be DPSing down the tower here with the double damage for him. A little surprised the Scourge didn't even attempt to defend that. I guess they feel like they're on the back foot now. The score is tied, but if you look at the item progressions for both teams, let's see, Enigma working on a Blink Dagger here, or excuse me, a BKB. Obsidian Destroyer is the main hero whose farm is really not up to par. I mean, he's doing so well early game, but he's still working on a Force Staff. I assume that's what he's going for with this Staff of Wizardry. This is, a lot of people think Mechanism is a good pickup on Obsidian just because, he benefits from the armor. It gives him a way to heal up, which he lacks. And it's just a good team item. So that's why you see teams go for it on Obsidian. I'm personally not such a big fan because I think it really delays his ability to impact in the mid game. If you go for Mechanism, he needs another item before he can do much, besides just be a decent source of damage and heal. I would much prefer to have seen maybe the Enigma go for. Because you already have a Panda going for a Blink Dagger, so it's nice to have the double blinks. But I think it would have been better if the Panda actually was the only form of initiation at first, and we saw the Enigma go for the Mechanism. A bunch of blinks come out here. Look, Shackle Shot not latching again. I don't think we've seen a single Shackle Shot last this game, but it's not going to matter. Meanwhile, the Sentinel doing a great job of pressuring both of the side lanes here. And even though the Scourge is getting these kills, you can't really say it's much in their favor because they're allowing the Queen of Pain and the Weaver to get a lot of farm. They're spending gold on Smoke of Deceit, and they're pretty much just getting Pincer. This is similar to a game where you would see a Furion, and Furion just does Queen of Pain going to TP out here. One of the reasons why Furion is so popular is that he can always be pressuring a lane. So even if his team has lost a couple heroes and you try to push mid, then Furion can just TP to one of the side lanes and start pushing that. Looks like Enigma getting stuck here. Not really sure what he's doing. Maybe trying to set up a gank on the Weaver. Weaver definitely onto him, and he's going to back off. Some really good map orders from this Weaver, I have to say.
A player's forces are under attack.
So I'm just sort of taking a look at the map right now in terms of map control. I mean, if you look at just where the lanes are pushed to right now. Let's go back to the neutral observer here. Queen of Pain farming well past the river. Weaver was, and he's about to be doing it again. These two heroes are just doing such a great job of pressuring the side lanes that the Scourge really can't get anything done. They might get a kill here on the Slardar, but they're going to have to blow the black hole to do it. It's not going to happen because in comes Earthshaker with a huge ultimate, but Obsidian drops his, and actually Obsidian might pick up another kill here. Weaver finally going to join the fight. Obsidian probably going to go down here. Is he going to be able to escape? A nice black hole, but it's only going to hit one hero. In comes, Queen of Pain doing work. Huge damage from the Queen of Pain. And now the chase is on. Windrunner might be able to get away. Queen of Pain going to be throwing out the Shadow Strike here, and this is going to be the death of Windrunner. So no Force Staff at this point in the game. Really just not able to survive.
Town is under siege.
That was a huge. So that was a huge fight for the Sentinel. The black hole was used. The Sentinel won the fight by a large margin. I'm not sure where the Panda was. Was he dead? I actually missed that. So my apologies if he died and I just missed that. But they really can't be fighting without the Panda. His ultimate as well as his Thunderclap are just so important in terms of initiating these team fights. Because you saw what happened in that fight. If the Enigma goes in first without a BKB, he's real easy to bring down. He's very squishy. They have a lot of burst damage, as well as just physical damage with that amplify damage being applied to the Enigma. So he's just really easy to take down. Another reason why a Mechanism might have been a good choice on him rather than the Obsidian. Just to help him survive a little bit better. Queen of Pain just trolling so hard. Actually got herself stuck in the trees here. And this crow is in a lot of trouble. This is 6.73C, so that crow gives a lot of gold. If the Panda might be able to pick her off, will he? I don't think he's going to. And now he needs to back. This Sentinel just has such an advantage in terms of map control. They can freely move around in the Scourge jungle. due to the fact that they're able to push all the lanes at once. And it looks like they might be going for a push here on top. I don't think this backdoor protection is up. Okay, it finally goes down. I don't think they can do anything to protect this. I think the Scourge are just going to have to forfeit this tower. I'm not sure what Panda's building. It looks like he might be going towards the Aghanim Scepter. You don't normally see BKB on Panda. He's not that effective in his Panda form. He's decent. I mean, he's got the Thunderclap. He can do some decent right-click damage, but his main source of damage and really presence in teamfights is going to be his ultimate. A little bit of action here. So
Players' forces are under attack.
something we talked about at the beginning of this game, which I think is proving true right now, is that the Scourge really have a harder time in these sustained team fights. The Sentinel just has so much chasing power, so much survivability. Weaver is going to go down, big team fight, but overall, it's a 1 for 2, and we might see the Slardar go down. I think he blinked out and then ran back in. I'm not really sure what happened there, but Enigma, did he just use his ult? Okay, no ultimate use by Enigma. But yeah, in these longer engagements, I mean, the Sentinel just have so much range, which is the first thing I talked about. But I guess the other aspect that's worth pointing out is that they also just have a lot of chasing power and staying power in these team fights. I mean, you've got double Lincoln Sphere on the Queen of Pain and the Weaver, so they're hard to take down in these extended engagements. And the Lincoln Sphere is going to be up at least twice as long as they don't die after the first proc. So it definitely favors them in that regard. Earthshaker is actually a decent chaser with Fissure and a Blink Dagger, which he has been able to pick up now. And then of course you have Slardar, probably one of the best chasers in the game, if not the best, because he can run at max move speed, and then of course he's got the Blink Dagger now as well. I mean, at this point, if we had a gold graph, pretty sure it'd be heavily favoring the Sentinel here, and just taking a look at the levels. I mean, you've got a Queen of Pain and a Weaver at level 17 and 18. The Weaver is the real story of this game as far as I'm concerned, because and it's a lot of it is thanks to the Earthshaker, but he's soloing the hard lane for a while. He got a little support, but for the most part he was solo against the dual lane, and he did exceptionally well. Looks like he's going to be going for the Radiance next. Only need 700 more gold to complete it. I say only, but this is actually a pretty late time to be getting a Radiance. If the rest of his team wasn't doing well, he might be in for some trouble, but as a second, I guess, maybe the Sentinel's plan coming into this game was they see Weaver as more of a secondary carry, or, that he doesn't have to shoulder the whole load, at least. So, from there, I think Enigma just gave away the smoke gank here. Not sure why they're even bothering to chase. So kind of a misplay there by Trust. But anyway, to get back to what I was saying, if you look at the Weaver as as not the true hard carry for the team, but just one of several heroes that's going to be important late game, then maybe the Lincolns isn't such a bad investment. In the more on a more team scale, he's still doing a great job. The Swarm is countering a lot of these BKB or a lot of these Blink heroes. He's doing a lot of damage just with Sakuchi and chasing, and he's being a real nuisance in general and drawing a lot of focus fire. So from that aspect, he's a pretty good choice. Or the Lincolns is a pretty good choice. So we do see, I mean, there's just no item progression here really on the Scourge. I mean, the Force Staff is up on the Windrunner, and the BKB is up on the Enigma, but these are very late to be getting these core items. Obsidian, I guess, going for a BKB now. Because of all the Sentinel's burst damage, he really doesn't have another choice. He's got to be able to sit there and right-click without getting focused down. And the BKB will help him do that, but, and this is where I think the mechanism just doesn't do enough to keep him alive. It's nice versus the Slardar, but I don't think it's enough. And if he had just gone for, maybe the Force Staff right away and then into BKB, he could be well on his way to a Hex. Or, at least be done the BKB, be able to survive definitely in these team fights, and then be going for the Hex. As it stands now, he still needs another 6k, 7k, and even 8k in items before he can truly be the monster that he is. Both teams sort of grouping up around the Roshan pit. Looks like Scourge might want to try and do it. It's a little unusual to see this many heroes, teams jungling the Ancients at this point in the game. Sentinel smoked up. Gonna be scouting out Roshan. They're not gonna find anything though. I mean, I think at this point, if the Scourge can somehow win a team fight and get the Aegis onto the Obsidian Destroyer, they have a chance. Albeit, in my opinion, a fairly remote one. But it's all going to come down to the Enigma's black holes, and so far he just hasn't been able to get a really good one off. And this, this goes back to the nature of the Sentinel lineup. They have a lot of heroes that are escape artists. Slardar are very hard to take down, very maneuverable. Same with Queen of Pain and the Weaver. And the Shaker and the Ancient Apparition can mostly just stay back. They don't really have to be in the front lines to be effective. Looks like Scourge is going to gamble and go for this Roshan. They're doing a decent amount of damage. Panda just being a great tank, even though he's got almost no items. But I think this fight's going to end badly. I'm pretty sure they're going to die if they don't get out right now. Looks like they might already be dead. A big Slither and Crush. I think the Black Hole was cancelled there. Was the Black Hole cancelled? I'm not sure if he used it. No, it was not. I think he may have cancelled the cast. Just no chance for Enigma to get off the Black Hole, even with the BKB. Just so much right-click power. The chase continues. Double kill. Triple kill coming out for the Weaver. Weaver doing work along with the Queen of Pain here. Slardar are going to be going down shortly. Windrunner just hasn't been able to do anything this game. Missing another Shackle shot. I mean, the only reason I'm sort of surprised about this, and maybe it's just that Dota 1 Shackle shot is a little bit harder to hit than Dota 2.
Town is under siege.
But, in Dota 2 I've become accustomed to seeing Windrunners just connect and hit two heroes with Shackle shot almost every fight, and just, almost as a matter of course. So, interestingly, the Aegis goes to the Queen of Pain. I think it's a pretty good choice, although she didn't go for Aghanims, which would make it a great choice. But it's a good choice, because she can come back with full mana and, go to work with all her spells again. Generally, with the Aegis of the Mortal, you want it to go into a hero that doesn't have too many long cooldown spells, or that, comes back at a disadvantage when they die. So, for example, Dragonite is not really a great carrier for the Aegis, because when he respawns, if he's already used his dragon form, he doesn't get it. He comes back in his standard human form. Similarly, you wouldn't really want to put an Aegis of the Immortal on an Enigma normally, because once he uses his Black Hole, he's not too effective. So Queen of Pain's a pretty good choice. If she had an Aghanims, then she'd be a fantastic one, because her cooldown on her ultimate would be reduced to 40 seconds, and she could use it twice in one team fight.
A player's forces are under attack.
At this point in the game, Sentinel's gotten the Aegis. I mean, in my opinion, they can just, finish. Weaver's got the Radiance. I mean, I think they can just go push now. I don't really see anything that the Sentinel can do, or the Radiant can do to stop them. Radiant, damn it. Sorry, guys. I'll get better at that, I promise, as I cast more Dota 1 games. I mean, there's just no item progression here, really, when you look at it. The Panda hasn't been able to get 1,000 gold since picking up that Ogre Axe. Just really not, the Panda pick, in my opinion, they just didn't use him properly this game. He spent a lot of time farming. I think I only really saw his ultimate in 2 big team fights. It's possible I missed them, and then he wasn't there in that crucial fight mid, which I think really sealed the advantage for the Sentinel in this game. And, again, I'm not sure if he was actually dead and just respawned, or if he just wasn't there. So whether it was the Panda's fault or his team, for not realizing he wasn't there, either way, him not being there was really costly. Panda is not a, he's not a hard carry like a Faceless Void or, an Obsidian Destroyer, where ideally you just want to farm all game and max out your inventory. He's definitely more of a mid-game threat, a team fight controller, just a nuisance. But he just, he spent a lot of time farming. They weren't really ever able to combo the Panda Blink Clap with the Enigma ultimate. And I think that just goes back to the Sentinel's elusiveness and general survivability. So that, really well played by the Sentinel. And then also I think a bit of a, just not taking full advantage of their heroes. Huge dive into the base. Not sure Obsidian Destroyer is the correct choice, but they're actually going to keep him down with perfect chain stun. Enigma Black Hole coming late, that's pretty much the game right there. I don't see anything that the Sentinel are going to be able to... I don't see how the Scourge are going to stop the Sentinel here, rather. Queen of Pain, just some huge dives going all the way into the base. This is going to be another kill. Weaver's going to take down this Crystal Maiden, diving extremely far. He doesn't have the Aegis, so he's going to be a little careful. But he's just going to use his ultimate back right out and be totally fine. This should be Rax, and I think they can actually get 2 sets of Rax here. Should be pushing down this lane and then going immediately to rotate towards middle. So yeah, for whatever reason, they just were not able to combine the Primal Split, Thunderclap, Black Hole combination. And I mean, their lineup is really built around that, as well as having the Obsidian Destroyer drop his Sanity's Eclipse. It's a lot of burst damage, and it's a really strong teamfight presence. If they were able to combo those properly, and I'm sure this is what they had in mind, they could have won some pretty big engagements. But between Windrunner never getting her Shackle shots, Obsidian not having as much damage as he would like, and having to go for the mechanism early, because the Windrunner wasn't farming well. And just the elusiveness of the Sentinel team, they were never able to put it together. So as you can see, the Hex has been completed on the Queen of Pain for a while, and she's pretty freaking beastly at this point. Wonder, at this point, I don't even know what she would go for, but I would be surprised to see a BKB, just to make sure that she's impossible to kill in these team fights. Black Hole, will hold her, but as long as the BKB is active, even if you're held in place, there's just no damage on the Scourge, aside from the Obsidian's right clicks. But he can't use his orb when you're BKB'd or his ultimate, so... Looks like the Sentinel 5 here is going to be grouped up bottom, sensing their advantage and feeling pretty confident about their ability to take this game. And I can't say I disagree. Looks like she's going to be going for an Aghanim, so a nice balance of damage and survivability. It's a good item at really any stage of the game with Queen of Pain. If you can rush an Aghanims, your ultimate is just devastating, especially when it's more in the ganking phase. Where you'll have more engagements where you're able to sort of back out of a fight or kill a hero and then move around the map and come back in. That's where Aghanims is really at its best. It's not as important to have it here, but it's still pretty good. Blink goes out onto the Windrunner. Windrunner going to drop almost instantly.
Double kill.
The GGs are called. MiTH-TRUST is going to leave, so really well played by Neolution, I have to say. Wicked sick, and I'm just going to take a quick look here at the final scoreboard if I pause the replay. Yeah, so if you just look at the overall items, at this point the Sentinel's really far ahead, but the Scourge just was never able to get their core items up. You see Obsidian Destroyer 40 minutes into the game, still working on BKB. No Hex on him. You really want to see a Hex on that Obsidian. Because once he has Hex, he could kill the Weaver from full health. I think even, maybe not at this point, but certainly earlier in the game. Enigma's pretty much got his core items up, but beyond that, there's really not a whole lot you'd buy. Windrunner, you don't see a Hex on her, you don't see a mechanism. Really, the only major item she built was a Force Staff. And Panda completes the BKB, but I don't think BKB was a good choice anyway. A decent amount of the Sentinel's damage is magical, but a BKB Panda is just not that scary. So I don't think that was a good choice there. Aghanims might have been a better option. Maybe just getting a drum early. And this is why, one of the reasons why you see the Chinese do it is it just allows you to be a bigger presence in the team fights. And the drum is so good for buffing the split Pandas. Crystal Maiden, really, it's a sad day to be her. 18 creeps, 1, 8, and 5. Never even upgraded her boots. Just no kind of health. She should probably watch some Dota 2 replays and see how Arsart gets tanky on his Crystal Maiden, because I think she really needed to be a little more survivable to be able to contribute later in the game. So, all in all, if you compare it to the Sentinel, they're huge. So, really well played by the Sentinel. They took advantage of their team strength, which was chasing, sustained team fights, and sort of surviving and kiting around. And, they just outplayed the Scourge in this game. So, well played by both teams. And thanks for watching, guys. This was my first Dota 1 commentary. And I apologize for the stuttering and the technical difficulties and anything else that might have been suboptimal or less than ideal for you as a viewer. If you have any feedback, please don't hesitate to post it in the comments, or you can just contact me directly. I'm ldDOTA on Twitter, so you can get a hold of me there. And thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, please subscribe.